say emergency, put it right, just if needed, if we call upon.
What's all this, Carol?
That's the exact thing they do with Lake Charles.
Who is this one?
I'm not sure.
This is, Shane.
Waste per.
I'm talking about it
The
now.
work fire station in the EOC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In that closet, the radiator.
She's got a copy right next to me.
So do we need to get those or what?
What was it? I'll say if you can do it.
Go out on the road, you might need.
And we don't want to replace our own booth.
Honestly, I haven't really.
Just an emergency.
really
You can add that to it.
Because we're gonna
We
get
should
it.
have, we are already in contract.
That's it.
Yeah, we've been asking.
What do you-
I don't know what you can buy.
Email.
They can buy it.
Instead of a phone call, I would prefer
But,
it
right,
being
we don't want anybody to
By
buy it.
email.
I mean, personally, I like using
The USDA one, and this is like a depends on the No, I got it filled in, but they're like, I want to get all my questions at once, so I did like
Somebody else in an emergency.
Now, this is just a one call if it's worse than, it just says.
I'm not gonna take it out.
That's not the, this is just a security.
There's something on there.
Yeah. Emergency vehicle.
Oh, we're in the middle of the camp.
Yep. That's why usually I take the in and
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gonna ask
You
you
said
to
it's here.
the whole time.
Hey, Bob.
Say something about his names.
Wind blowing away, I got it on backwards.
Hey, you do, put it on right.
I say, going back to
I should have
school.
brought
You
mine.
probably need to keep the door open, just in case.
Hey, Alan,
Do we need to open the door?
Steve can put that sod down, and I appreciate it, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, just
Looks
because
good.
That man had an issue with that
Just because they can
on hard
get lazy
road.
out there sometimes.
Huh?
That homeowner had an issue on the hard road or something.
All right, everybody ready?
No, he had already done most of it himself, so we did the yard there.
All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge and invocation. And
Let us pray, please. Lord God in heaven above, as we face Hurricane Sally, may you keep us all safe, all the residents of the Gulf Coast. Be with us all. Protect our homes, protect our properties, protect our lives, and allow everyone to go to normal when this is over. And Father, be with all the city employees, be with the city and all the city employees as they go about the business of restoring services during and after this hurricane. Keep them safe and keep them sound, and allow them to return home without any injuries. God bless us all. For all these things we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
all right, so we have our meeting is not a normal scheduled meeting today, and we have an addendum, so do I have a motion to
Make a
accept?
motion to accept the agenda and the addendum. Mr. Mayor.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Empey, second by Mr. Gill, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. All right, so our public hearings are deferred, presentations are deferred, so it looks like we have, okay, budget. Patty, I guess I'll just go ahead and open it up to you.
Basically, this is the same budget that we looked at the public hearing. There has been a few minor touches here and there, things that came up that maybe, you know, I think I've probably made about $20,000 difference in this budget. I can go over I think everyone has heard it. Do y'all want me to give an overcap of all of it again?
No, I think.
It's just up to y'all. I mean, I can give y'all song and
Yeah.
dance if that's what y'all.
Well, I mean, that's just me, I
Yeah.
don't know about the rest of the board.
I would like to point out in here in this budget, we are putting, and this does take a motion by the board, we are gonna put another 100,000 in the reserve fund. And that municipal reserve fund, only the board can vote to add money or to remove money from it, just so you guys know. Beyond that, there's some ending balances. Everything's looking good. Like I said, we went over it pretty intensely at the budget hearing. There's not really any changes except for we're going to get a drug dog, so I made an adjustment for the drug dog. And the UDC had a lot of printing going on, so I had to increase Carolyn's budget to accommodate all the UDC changes. And I think I added some to an electrical. Beyond that, is there any questions? It's in a different format than what you guys saw before, because that's how we adopt. We adopt in the format of just by each series. It helps us to, in breaking the 10% rule and having to put things back in the paper. So this one is not as detailed as the last budget, but if anybody wants the other budgets, I can sure give you another copy of that, or the public can have the other one too. But this is the one we adopt by. This is what will go in the paper, and it'll just be general fund.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Bobby.
You say we have to make a motion to, transfer the 100,000 into the reserve fund?
It probably wouldn't hurt, because that is a board action. It could fall under adopting the whole budget. That's just up to y'all. I do have it listed out. If you go to the end of general fund, you would see that I did put that there's 100,000 going in the municipal reserve fund. So it's probably in here okay, if you don't want to make a separate one.
I think if you adopt the budget, that's on it.
Yep, it's
That's
in
part
here.
of it.
Yep.
So we'll be ending this fiscal year with a cash ending balance of almost 800,000.
Well, right,
And
yes.
I know that carries over, but so there's no deficits, and that's with the 100,000 going to the
Yes.
emergency fund. What does that put the emergency fund at?
It was, we're at
Of
$1
the reserve
million.
fund.
I'm sorry, the reserve fund, you guys added 100,000 last year, so it's at like $1,017,000 because y'all voted to put interest in it. And so this will put it, I guess this will put it at $1,000,001 because I think it was at 900.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll continue to add interest again to it next year. Yeah, that cash ending will be moved. That is not all of the cash, but that's all that we have to put in here. We just have to balance general fund. There is a little bit more cash for cash ending.
Okay.
Okay. And the water's at the bottom. What's going on with the water? Every one of these has ending balances for you guys. Let me go kind of just look down through here a second. The library will end with 15,000 left. That will help toward if we have to get a roof. They have a reserve also, and that 15,000 will just add into there at this point. The fire protection, we are still working on a refinance for the fire truck, but for now I've put in more principal until we get that to happen, just so I don't have to readjust the budget. He basically just gets in his money and pays it out on the fire truck. General obligations, there's some, those numbers are a little bit more come January, February. Once we make sure we're going to receive all of our ad valorem taxes, then we will go ahead and look at loans and look at where we're set to what we can pay off to what we need to borrow, whether it's for roofs or equipment or whatsoever. Hopefully that'll be by the end of February we can address that. 2%. That ending balance looks a little low, but that's because it's all kind of budgeted out, and you got to remember that in the city's budget, you dropped us $120,000 in sales tax, and I dropped it $120,000 as far as sales tax and 2% too. So when you see these numbers, hopefully I shot low. Hopefully that'll be a good thing. The enterprise fund, as it is right now, would end with 1.6. We'll just kind of have to see. This last year it ended with a little bit more, but then the sewer stuff then went up quite a bit. But overall, the budgets look good and the cash looks good.
Thank you, Patty.
Good job on the budget.
Excellent.
Very good.
All right, is there a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Blackman, seconded by Mr. Gill. Any further discussion? All right, is this a roll call?
Yeah.
Roll call? All right, Mr. Gill?
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes. All right, adopt budget amendments.
Yeah, there's just a few, and you know, they can't go in the negative under a series, so these are fairly small. One of them you'll see in here was the vehicle we went ahead and purchased for the police department, which will go along with the FBI detail. That one will receive $8,400 a year back toward paying for that vehicle, but we went ahead and made the purchase because of the storms over in Louisiana. They were gonna lose the vehicle. The rest of them are just cleanup, and then Carolyn had a couple of grants that have closed out, and we're cleaning them up and shutting them down. That's just housekeeping, is all it was.
I'll make a motion to adopt the budget amendments, Exhibit 3B.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Impey, second by Mr. Blackman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, approve and accept acceptance of franchise executed by Mississippi Power Company. Is there a motion for
Make a
that?
motion to approve the acceptance of the franchise executed by the Power.
All right, motion by Mr. Cox, second by Mr. Blackman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, item D, approve order whereby Mississippi Power Company accepted the franchise granted to it by ordinance entitled, an ordinance granting a non-exclusive electric franchise to Mississippi Power Company, its successors, and assigns in the municipality of Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
Okay.
So moved.
Another roll call.
Okay.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mr. Blackman. Any further discussion? All right, we need a roll call. Mr. Gill?
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes. All right, let me go back to the new business. Do we still need that on the regular meeting? That wasn't changed, correct? On the regular agenda? All right, adopt ordinance extending a tax exemption program for the central business district. Is there a
I'll make a motion to adopt that ordinance extending the tax exemption program for the CBD.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Impey, second by Mr. Hoffman. We need a roll call. Mr. Gill?
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes. All right, next is discussion of demolition of Chanting property on Cove Avenue.
Yeah, I put that on there because we need to get a date together or to sign for this so we can get this done. The neighbors are really nervous about that structure and they really want it gone. And it's, you know, part of our settlement is that we get rid of it. So do we have anything planned?
I don't know when you want to start it.
Well, we got the right of entry right signed, so we can pretty much get it done as soon as you're ready, but we need to get it done. I mean, hopefully we get through this storm and it's nothing that's gonna delay us that bad, but we need to get that on the,
Let's see what we get with Sally, but if nothing comes up, we probably may start at the end of next week.
okay,
Get somebody to come look at it and see what we can do with it.
okay.
Yeah, we got the settlement, or the right of reentry, or whatever we want to call it, sorry. I'm kind of all over the place this afternoon. But anyways, we had it signed about a month ago, and it gave us 90 days, so that's up until November 16th, but I know that
Yeah, we're
Ricky
not
and the
gonna-
neighbors want to get that done
Yeah.
ASAP.
Okay,
We're not gonna wait until then.
okay. I'll get somebody on it.
Thanks.
Okay, trying to make sure I get everything here. It's been- All right, I guess to the consent agenda. Does anybody have any items to pull from the consent?
I'll make a motion, we approve consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cox, second by Mr. Impey. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, I guess we are at department reports, because I don't see any public in here or comments. So, discussion of closures related to Hurricane Sally. So I was planning on basically just go ahead and closing up the offices whenever we finish up here, to let our employees go home and you know, secure their belongings and such. I was planning on having tomorrow be closed, and then just kind of reevaluate for Wednesday and the rest of the week.
Yeah.
But I'm open to suggestions.
No, it's fine. But you gotta be sensible, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Who, will we be opening up the EOC tonight? No?
We've already the chief and I have already talked about it, and if he has a need, and Megan added to the city hall phone line, if there's an emergency to call 911, but if it was questions regarding the EOC, it's there to call the fire department number, the 875-4063. If Chief McCoy decides he needs some support, then I'm not very far, Mindy's not, Jennifer's not, so we're just waiting on the chief to say he needs us. But that's already been discussed.
And Alan, y'all, I know you've already.
I'm gonna bring a regular crew tomorrow, and I'm gonna bring in 12 tomorrow at noon to let them work all the way through tonight.
Okay.
I think the way it looks, most of the bad part's gonna be after dark.
Yeah.
7 o'clock.
Can y'all specify a time that you're, instead of just after this, would it be like 3 o'clock for the city hall closure today?
Yeah, I mean, for today,
3.
Yeah.
3 o'clock sounds good to me.
Motion?
I'm with
You don't necessarily have to have a motion.
Well,
but-
hang on just a minute, so is the buses picking up kids today? You're not talking about the program, are you?
Yeah, we haven't canceled anything as of yet.
You can't
So they'll be there till,
They're not gonna cancel that.
right,
I'm just talking about just the offices. at the
Okay.
City Hall, so, yeah, not any other program. So, I don't think we need a motion, we just, for offices to be closed, I mean, I can pretty much take care of that. But I was aiming to do it right at 3 whenever we finish here, if that's good with everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
That'll work. And
All right,
close tomorrow.
okay, and then,
Know it's coming.
yeah. All right, and then USC Hurricane Sally update. Chief, you wanna give us the latest, greatest news?
So, I just got an email from Earl right before I got here, and he kind of gave a little review.
Can you get that?
But, so Sally's now a Cat 1 at 90 miles an hour. It's forecast to be at least a Cat 2 with 105 at landfall, which is gonna be early Wednesday morning is what it's looking like.
8 a.m.
Yeah, right around midnight. Yeah, it's gonna be around, according to her back, it's gonna be like around 2 o'clock Wednesday morning is when it's actually gonna make landfall. It's moving at only about 6 miles an hour, which is making it more difficult for them to forecast because it is moving so slow. Also, we got an extremely high tide right now in the tide cycle. There's about a 2 foot worth of rise or drop. The high is gonna be in the morning around 8 o'clock, something like that. 9:15. So about 9:15, we'll be at high tide. I think it's probably like 2.4 or something like that. It'll be falling all day. The problem is, this thing's moving so slow, and they're projecting that it's gonna make landfall between Bay St. Louis and Biloxi. It's gonna put us right where we don't wanna be, if that's where it makes landfall as far as rain goes. We're looking at 10, 15 plus inches. It's depending on how it works itself out, it's not impossible that we don't see 2 feet worth of rain. And then the problem is, because of what little bit of surge we are gonna get, it's not gonna really let the water go back out. It's gonna be, I compared it kind of like Hurricane George, when it dumped 2 feet of rain on us. You know, it really wouldn't let the water run back out. So Ocean Springs does sit better than most of the other municipalities as far as flood and things of that nature. There is 2 shelters open in the county, one being St. Martin and one at Hurley. One thing that I want you to pay attention to, like I told you last time, Ocean Springs is kind of like that geographical point that they divide stuff by. So when they say surge to our east is going to be 5 to 8 feet. From us back to the west, they're predicting 7 to 11. So it's really hard for us to kind of determine what they're actually forecasting for us as far as surge, but the general consensus is, for us, it should be 5 to 8 feet. After talking with, Jackson County EOC this morning, they're not really foreseeing any problems for us, other than if we get that large amount of rainfall that we could get, then we'll have some flash flood, streets over flood. But as far as surge goes, standing alone on that, we're not really projecting any problems of flooded streets other than what we would normally see. So as far as our EOC, this event's gonna last 2 days. Wednesday morning, it's like 7 or 8 Wednesday morning, it's gonna be like George County, maybe Green. So it's not, this is a long drawn out event. So
Do you think we need to go ahead and plan for having off Wednesday? Offices closed Wednesday?
if it's going the way they're forecasting it, then yeah, you probably won't be able to open Wednesday. If it requires a vote, I don't know, maybe y'all could do a vote somehow to word it, but otherwise I would just say look at it Tuesday, but I don't see Wednesday being a beautiful day by far.
Chief, is that, they had talked about it drifting to the east a little bit more, is that?
It has drifted to the east, as far as their forecast goes, it's drifted to the east since last night, just a little bit by a little bit. But when you look at all the hurricane forecast models, all the models are pretty much in agreement with just a little bit of spread, but we're right there in it. So I mean, based on everything I'm seeing, we're gonna see something.
Yeah, you're on the northeast quadrant or the south, west quadrant, that makes a difference.
If it would come on over a little bit further east, we'd be a lot better off. It would push the heavy amount of rain further to our east.
I mean, I've seen them do a U-turn almost, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but I mean, that's with the national weather, just drifts in the east, so.
If you look at the forecast track, like a couple of hours ago, they actually moved it straight east. And I think what that was like a redefining the eye, relocating the eye. So you'll see the track going west-northwest, and then all of a sudden it just goes straight east. Now it's going back west-northwest again. I think they were just relocating the eye of the system. Jackson, just so y'all know, Jackson County EOC, they have requested at least one person from each municipality to be there. I've got a person going there that will be kind of like our liaison for if we need anything with Public Works, PD, whatever, we'll have a seat at the table over there. Because of how long and drawn out it's going to be, I just don't really see the need in activating our EOC. If you want to come sit, that's fine, you know, be more happy to have you, but I just don't really see the need in activating it per se and having a number of people just sitting there because, like I said, we're looking at a 48-hour ordeal. So, y'all got any other questions?
I want to add too that we had a short run that with this last storm, and Jennifer's in here. Jennifer, the paperwork and all that came in, we're not going to actually, since we're not going to get Cristobal at this point, we know we're not going to get, what was the last storm, Marco? Laura? But Jennifer said the paperwork went real well. Jennifer, do you want them to notate anything on time cards? As you know, all the equipment has to be tied to its drivers. So as you guys are working equipment and bringing in staff, Miss Donna knows in 911 what to do. But Jennifer said the dry run went real well last time. Let's just hope this is not a big run. But please make sure you're keeping up with all that because we will have protective measures for this storm. That will happen. I don't know if Trump has done it yet, but that will happen. And as the chief knows, some of us are just a call away. If he starts getting calls he doesn't want to deal with, then we'll activate 1 or 2 people, whatever he thinks.
Appreciate the update, Chief.
Oh, thank you.
So did we decide what to do with
Wednesday, we'll probably be closed, but we're just gonna stay optimistic and address it tomorrow.
May I ask one question? In case, I know you're gonna shut down City Hall, you know, to 2 o'clock, well, after this meeting. You know, some storms we had sewer backed up in the homes and also homes flooding. and I know we need HR out there to take a look at them.
Yeah.
You know, so who do we call? In other words, y'all have a number here in case one of the aldermen need to call, in case of,
Best thing right now is to document it, and then whenever we get back in the office and I don't know, should we just send that to
Well,
the
Mindy's
chief?
on her, Mindy had been off today and tomorrow, but she's on her way home. So Mindy will be available, John. You got anything that should go through risk management, Mindy's available if you need
Just call
anything
her
from
cell
City
number.
Hall. Yep, just call me for whatever you need for City
Okay.
Hall, and we'll
a
make
lot of
sure.
them want to come out and look at it, document it.
Yeah.
And then they get, you know,
Yeah.
pro serve out there.
I'll have 2 people from sewer here the whole time.
Yeah.
Main thing document.
We will still be available, even if we're not
Alan,
at
you'll
City
be on
Hall.
your cell phone now.
Yeah, I'll be at the shop.
All right.
Yeah. Mindy will be on her cell, I'll be on my cell. Most of
Okay.
the staff is still gonna be available to you.
All right, great. Good deal.
All right, as far as department reports, we still got discussion of Jazzy John's, the comfort stations for the Cruising the Coast and Peter Anderson. Megan? Looks like, go ahead.
Yeah, I have the quote up here. This is for both Peter Anderson and Cruising the Coast, and it includes attendance at the comfort stations. We're getting an ADA station with 2 extra regular stalls, and then we're also getting a 7th station. That way we can kind of limit who goes in if it gets too much. It includes people there to sanitize. It's following all CDC rules and regulations. There's some new stuff that had come out. And the quote that we have is for $6,309 for both events.
That's fantastic, Megan.
That's better than last year.
Way
That's,
better.
that's good negotiation on your part. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Can I get a motion to move forward with it?
I make a motion, we accept or move forward with the Jazzy John's comfort station.
Second.
All right, motion Mr. Cox, second Mr. Hoffman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, and discussion of beach lights.
Mayor, me and Ricky had a conversation before the meeting, and I think we're gonna try to meet out there first off before we move forward with the beach lights. I mean, power company is working with us. They put, for everybody that wants to go look, there is a 50-watt light on pole 21 that you can judge, you know, see how far the light shines and how bright. And there is a 110-watt light on pole 52. And then also a solar light in the parking lot where the boat trailers and trucks park, up on the wooden pole with a yellow ribbon tied around it, so people can figure out. But that solar light is some kind of bright, and it's big. It looks like a big parking lot light. I don't know if they have smaller ones of those we can look at, but that is, it's bright, it's Ricky. And it lights that whole parking lot up.
At the trailer parking, on the gravel parking by the harbor.
But I think, give us another week or so to continue talking with the power company, and then if we have to have a special meeting to put that in place, then we can do it. But I think we're moving forward in the right direction.
What's the price on those Barrett's lights? Is it
Well,
significant?
that's what
Is
we're
it
waiting on, the quote on the 50 now. We'd asked for a quote on 90, 110, and
monthly charges?
yeah, it'll be a lease to where we're out of the light business. It'll be on the
Bobby, what pole is the 90 on?
The 50 watt is on pole 21. They didn't have any 90s in stock. Go down there and look. It goes all the way to the.
Can't they order a 190? I mean, can't
They
they
can
order
get the
that?
90 in within 3 weeks.
Huh?
They can get the 90 in within 3 weeks.
A 190 in 3
No,
weeks?
a 90. For 190, it'd be like a stadium light.
We need the 110s.
Well, you know, it's
One
pretty dog
ten goes
down.
all the way up into the yards.
Pretty dog down there, Bob. You got some dog spots down there.
Go down and look at the light.
That's the biggest complaint. People got dog spots.
No, I agree. I agree.
I just wanna make sure we're getting enough light. I mean,
Go down and look.
you know, I mean, if you got 110 and 190, I mean, I don't see the big difference. I mean, when you light it up, you see a difference, but I mean,
But they had the 110 on pole 21.
in other words, I don't think you could hold the light to front beach.
Do what?
'Cause I don't think you could hold the light to front beach.
Well, I mean, you can.
Overlight it up.
I think the way that Ricky and I are talking before the meeting, I think, you're closer to the road in some areas, you're further away. It'll make a difference. If you go down and look at the 50 and the 110, there is a big difference. The 110 lit up all the way to, you know how Skip's front yard, he's got a second bulkhead up higher? The light went all the way to that bulkhead. Which, it didn't get in his house, but the light did go all the way up. It lit his front yard up. So the 50 goes all the way to the seawall. I mean, the white wall in front of his house, on the road. The whole roadway is lit up, and it lights it up pretty good. So just go take a look and see for yourself. Personally, I'd like to see the 90 before we make a move on anything. Because I really feel like the 110 was too bright right there.
Too bright?
It was lit up.
What is it too bright on? In other words, lights up the water or the house?
Oh, it'll reach to the water because there's a double light there. So you'd have 110 going towards Skip's house and the other all the way to the water. It'll light the whole thing up. I mean, I'm all for putting the lights there, but I don't want to put it to where the residents there are going to be mad.
Oh, that's the problem. Oh, okay.
Where's the solar light at?
Solar lights in the parking lot by the harbor.
Well, we'll look down.
I mean, just hearing a 50 and a 110, automatically you think that 50 is nowhere near bright enough, but you go down there and look and it does. It actually is wide enough to where the next light next to it, it'll really be covered.
Well, what I've worried about is in between the lights, you have dark spaces.
Yeah,
black spaces. If you walk down there at night, that's what the ladies are afraid of, that dark space in between. And if this, whatever this lights up, I mean, if it light that space, that's what we need to use. I mean, if the houses are complaining, somebody out, I mean,
go down and take a look, John.
I think the safety is more important than what those people got to say.
I just don't want us to make a motion to put stadium.
Well, we'll go take a look at it. I'd like a 190 down there so you can look at that.
You wouldn't like a 190. You mean a 90 or a 110? 110 plenty bright.
Well, it said 190 on the email.
It did. 190, we told them we don't.
Is that a mistake?
We don't even need to see that one.
Why not?
Yeah, they didn't
anyway, I'll go take a look at it. Let me look at it first.
I wanted to see the 90 before we make a decision. I got you.
All right, well, everybody should go, maybe not necessarily tonight or tomorrow night, but at some point go down there and take a look.
It's a good night if you go by boat.
Yeah.
If you don't go tonight, it's not gonna be working because we.
Flounder right there tonight.
Yeah.
All right.
Might not be able to get there.
Any items for the docket of claims, anybody?
Make a motion to approve the docket of claims, Mr.
All
Mayor.
right, motion by Mr. Empey, seconded by, seconded by Mr. Papania. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we've got appeal of the tree department denial. 2514 Ridgewood.
Whose ward is that?
I think
That's my ward. That's my ward.
Go ahead.
Yes, this lady had asked to have the tree removed, and she come back and said that it was actually growing into her sewer lines, which there is a sewer line there. There are two roots going towards it, but at the same time, it's also covered with azalea bushes, so it's kind of a hard call. One way or the other. Mr. Ken, did you get an opportunity to look at it?
Yeah, Darrell, I went by and looked at it, and I also knocked on the door, but either they weren't home or didn't come to the door. I looked at the tree, gentlemen, and it's probably 20 feet away from the house. It's a good, healthy oak tree, and it probably has a diameter of about 12 inches high, something of that nature. I can't see anything. There is a root. I can't see anything wrong with the tree. It's a good tree. And as far as what you're talking about, the sewer line and the yard, if we cut every tree in this town, everybody has a yard and has a tree in the front and a sewer line. I've got one myself. And so I think that's just the nature of the beast, the chance we take. And so it may or may not be in the sewer line. I don't know that. Now, there was a root in the yard, and I think that's probably the major complaint. There was a root coming from an oak tree. You have oak trees, you have roots. that was on the surface. And I would say that that root could be cut if you want to cut that root. And taken out, and that's fine. The power line that goes to the house went through a little small section of that tree. That's the nature of the beast. That service drop is there and made to handle trees. So I don't perceive that as a problem. But I do not recommend cutting the tree down. I recommend allowing them to cut. I only saw one root, cut that one root, which is probably 3 to 4 inches in diameter. Cut that one root, and if they want to shape the tree up, that's fine. My recommendation is to cut the root.
Okay. And that's what they were approved for. In the beginning was root cut, the 2 roots, and then trimmed a little bit around the power line.
So Ken, do you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we deny cutting the tree at, what was that address again?
2514 Ridgewood.
2514.
Ridgewood.
At 2514 Ridgewood. So that we allow the customer to trim the roots and trim the tree line.
All right, motion by Mr. Papania, seconded by Mr. Blackman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, no public comment, so we'll go to Alderman's Forum. Mr. Gill.
No, well, yeah, we got, maybe I said no more. Down on Queen Elizabeth, that guy's got the cut out in the yard.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. He about to wear us out, man.
Did you see the text I sent you? Never responded. It's gonna come before y'all. He's gonna have to have a license to encroach on city property, so you'll get to say something on it anyway.
It's gonna come before us?
That's what it's holding up. That's what's being held up on it right now.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And the other one on Penny Circle, that house on the right hand side, I think it's 104. It's been abandoned since the storm, since the last, 10 years, I think. It's been.
Yeah, last month, well, they kept the grass cut. Last month, they were actually doing some work on the house, like cosmetic work. Hadn't been by there lately, but we've been watching the grass.
I know there's some animals living in there. I don't know what, that's what the neighbors say.
Yes, sir. The gentleman beside of that's complaining, though, his place is in not much better shape. I think that's all to say that. But, I mean, if we can get on to her some more and tell her, y'all, I mean, what do you suggest, tear it down?
Oh,
I mean, that's.
I know if it was in my neighborhood, I'd want somebody to do something with it. It's just.
It's a school teacher that owns it. I'll contact her and talk with her.
It's on my street, brother.
I'll talk with her, see what her intent is.
Yeah, see if we can start some kind of process. Usually when we start a process and they start getting letters, is when they either sell it or they do something with it. Can we start a process?
Well, she's gotten letters for the yard. She hasn't gotten anything on the house. But I've talked with her about the house, and she wants to fix it up.
But she's been wanting to for 10 years, though, Darryl. That's what I'm saying. Can you start the process? Is there enough information there to start the process?
I can start it, yes, sir.
Okay, we do that, and then once they get letters and all that, then they usually, I mean, there's so many, Aldermen brought them, up to the board, and nobody done nothing, and when they finally start making a process to tear it down, then they start coming up here wanting to.
It's just difficult to make a decision to tear a house down if it's repairable. That's the problem is she says she wants to repair it, but she's not repairing it. And still, the house can still be fixed and stay on the tax.
Well,
if she would just fix it, that's the main thing.
So, just go ahead and start the process.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all, man.
All right.
I have just one thing. So, moving forward with this storm and stuff, I know we have something in place for debris monitoring if we need it. When are we going to get together again once all this happens to assess what moving forward? Like, we're going to plan to meet shortly after to try and figure this out, if it's something that needs to be figured out.
You talking about our agreement
No, the debris monitoring company.
Yeah, I mean, we kinda missed the boat for this round, but.
Well,
No,
they're on
no,
contract.
they're on contract.
They're on contract, we just need a bunch of stuff for them to come do, right? We don't have that yet.
Right, and I hope we
Don't
don't.
want them to come through.
Right.
You're right.
And I hope we don't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, as far as like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have
I
to
hadn't thought about it.
figure out all of our damages and stuff if they have any.
Well, I mean, I guess we're just gonna have to wait till everybody gets all the documentation and then kinda attack it at that point.
Well, I think that possibly, once the storm is through, the chief might call a special call if we need it, so we can talk about all the damages, because we'll have to have an assessment anyway. Then y'all might.
One question I do have though, do we have a staging lot for all the debris like we had after Katrina? I know this is not.
Usually all of that white.
We usually haul it straight down for waste.
Okay.
We have done that.
And one time we stayed
We could
behind
try
the
to-
civic center, one time we stayed
We could
at
try to
some place.
tentatively plan to meet, maybe Wednesday after lunch or so, to kind of go over all the damage and make an assessment at that time. And
Yeah,
then,
within a few hours of after this
Makes
stuff
sense.
passing, we'll do window assessments, and I'll have all that information to y'all as soon as I know it's done.
right.
Yeah, I won't do it prematurely.
Darryl,
Right,
you
I
gonna be out
understand.
with your people doing flood assessments and RSDEs, and we still do RSDEs after storms?
Yeah, we have to go out afterwards and look and make sure there's no flood damage, we have to report that. Damage assessments.
Rick, are you kind of talking about when do we call a monitoring company to come do their monitoring? or-
Well, if the storm does create a lot of debris, and this is something we need to do, they have other contracts with all other, counties and cities, so, the sooner we make a decision, if that's something we need to do, the better it'll be for us.
Cause every truck you take has to be monitored, right?
Yeah. Gotta be placarded and monitored. And now I think they want GPS readings of where you're picking it up from. They do.
They do, that's why we hired them. We could go ahead and contact them if you want us to, and probably wouldn't hurt to, just to say,
Touch base.
yeah, as soon as we,
Cause you know, as
But we'll stand by.
soon as they get clear, they're gonna be clearing streets and moving debris.
they're supposed to be large enough that there shouldn't be that it's us and other cities. They should show up here when we call them. I mean, we're on contract.
Well, I agree,
Yeah.
they probably will,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
they're
just
a big
saying that,
company. Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead and touch base with them, and then, right now it's a lot of hurry up and wait, but as soon as we're able to, we'll go out and do those windows assessment and hopefully make a call, as soon as possible.
Who's touching base with them?
You said, I'd call.
I just need to get them.
I can call them, or also I'll have Alan, because Alan will be the one that'll kind of make that determination, how much we're gonna be picking up, what we're gonna go from here. Now, as far as, hopefully it won't be a large storm, if it's a small storm, we won't probably invoke them. I mean, I really won't know. I mean, we've never had one. We've never had another company involved. This is gonna be our first round on that.
Right.
So, I don't know what to say until we know what the damages look like. But I will go ahead and call and make sure, or have the mayor call and make sure we're on go for Wednesday morning. Is that Wednesday morning? Would that be
Probably
correct, Chief?
Thursday morning.
Thursday
Yeah,
morning?
I would say Thursday morning.
Yeah.
All right, we'll handle that.
Well, I hope we don't need them, but, that's all I got.
Well, and did I see a contract earlier? Did y'all have
That
something
was
here
something-
earlier?
that was something.
Yeah, I was.
Is that coming up too?
Yep, that's right.
I've got that right now.
Okay, let's go ahead and
Mallet
go.
Brothers, Arlen Mallet with Mallet Brothers has requested that we sign a contract with them in advance so that after the storm, if needed, on an as-call basis, we can call them, and this is already in place to where they can get right on it. So it's just Mallet Brothers Construction is entering into a will call service agreement for Hurricane Sally between Mallet Brothers Construction Company and the City of Ocean Springs. Agreement is for emergency push crews to clear roadways, for emergency vehicles can pass through debris blocked roads. This agreement is for one skid steer or backhoe and one flagger spotter. The hourly rate is $250 per hour per unit with an 8-hour minimum when agreed upon, when activated.
What, skid steer?
Yeah, the front end loader with 4-yard plus size bucket will be $3.95 per hour.
Did you check this to see on the FEMA rates? Is this all gonna be possible to be reimbursed?
This agreement is activated by written notice of the mayor or his designee, Alan Ladner.
Is that a good
As the
rate?
point of contact. This is the same rate that they signed with Lake Charles.
My question
Lake
is,
Charles.
why do we need an outside company to bring one skid steer and one operator when we've got a rubber tire front end loader that we can do twice the amount of moving with?
Well, all
It
this
just
is
depends on how much
pushed up.
debris is on the road.
This is just worst
It's
case.
This
just
is
a-
strictly if, worst case scenario, we'd have to have some help.
And you got a skid steer or two down there
I got
too.
2 skid steers, 3 backhoes, and a front end
So
loader.
we got
is-
the equipment
And
for
he's
that.
gonna have all that on,
And is
this is
this-
only if he needs more help.
Is this
They're
because the
97
county
rated
won't be
rates.
available? You think the county would be too busy? Cause that's usually our backup.
Well,
County's gonna be busy in
we-
the county.
We can still touch base with the county. This is just an emergency basis, a contract they want to put in place prior to, so that it's there afterwards if we need it.
Well,
I'd
I
like
just
to
don't
make a
really
motion
like
to
signing stuff
move
about
forward.
money when we don't even know if that's gonna meet the requirements. I mean, you can still pay it, you just might not get it back.
Well, I mean, if we find out it doesn't, then we don't call them.
Well, we might have to pay it anyway.
Let me see that, Bob.
I don't think it has anything about a retainage on it. They don't get paid unless we call them.
Yeah. if
We
don't-
basically saying
we don't
that who's
call
gonna
it,
be the
then
one to
don't
trigger
pay.
this?
Is this,
Lake
Alan,
Charles.
We will.
is this something you want in
No,
place? I mean, is this something you think?
Or,
Well,
yeah,
we
if we
don't
decide we
really
need
know
it,
what the
we can
storm's
call
gonna bring us
Right.
until it gets here.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, I have
yeah.
42
With the
people.
recommendation of Alan.
But we got, what, 97 streets in Ocean Springs that's gonna have to be cleared?
So this is gonna be your backup, Alan,
Yeah.
and you'll call them as a last.
As a
resort.
last resort.
And by then, we can figure out whether the price is right or not.
I'm just a
When it-
little
look,
concerned
I
that
would-
this
I
comes
would
in
like
at the
Patty
very
to-
last moment with a whole new company. That concerns me, that just right here, day before the storm, that we haven't, this just shows up today. What about other companies? Is that being fair
I
to all
called Camden, I
companies?
called Camden just to compare prices, and they can't lend any help right now, because most of them's out of state.
wouldn't it be better for us
This
to
is-
just have a storm debris pickup company that hauls the stuff off as they clean the
No,
street,
then we don't
and to
make
just
it
push it off the
And
side?
then we don't make none of the money back.
Yeah, but we can't do like Nate and pick up trash for 2 months. I mean, and it has nothing to do with your group. I'm just saying that you only have so many people. And we answered the phones for 8 weeks after that storm because people were mad because their grass was dead.
But if we'd have started picking up debris the day after the storm, Nate, we wouldn't have been in that situation. But y'all, you know, we kinda played around for over a week before you turned us loose and let us go to work.
Well, I know, but that was a long time that
I know, a
debris
week's a
took us
long
to.
time when debris.
Nate was not handled correctly. There was only about 12 people picking it up. There should have been 42 people
Well, look,
picking it up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Public Works did a bad job.
I know-
I'm just
I know what you're
saying, I'm just saying that, you know, there's only so much time in a day, there's only so many people that can do so much.
Yeah, this contract is just on an emergency basis, and that's the only reason I brought it forward, is just for that reason. If
And we
needed
already-
on an emergency basis.
My question is the same as Patty's. I mean, I know it's an emergency if we need it, but do their rates match FEMA's rates where we can be reimbursed for it?
And I guess my
Like I said, just
question,
the same rate they just did for Lake Charles for the storm
well,
that they just had.
that's a catastrophic storm.
Yeah.
That won't be seen, I mean, if we have catastrophic, which Lord hopes we do not, that's totally viewed different with FEMA than a.
Why would it be any different?
Well, I think-
If it's catastrophic, it's the same.
Well, I
We need to
think-
see if we can get a better deal.
I think
on that.
if it is,
A lot of
I think what Bobby's saying is it's worst case scenario, which means pretty much is saying.
I
catastrophic.
gotcha, that this would mean we're catastrophic, is what you're saying.
More or
Yeah,
less.
I mean, we
Gotcha.
don't need them if Alan.
And we still have the agreement with Waste Pro if we need to pick somebody to help pick up debris.
Right.
That would
And all this
save
is to
last
clear
year.
the streets for emergency personnel.
Is this Waste Pro? Cause I
No,
thought
this
we'd
is
already
Mount.
agreed with.
This is Mount
I don't
Did we
see-
call this company? Did we ask them to do this, or did they
That's
ask us?
the first I heard of it
Shane,
tonight.
Shane brought this.
They reached out
today.
to us.
It's a lot of money.
Well, that just concerns me that,
I just, I thought you had to go out for bid, something like that.
well, I'm not saying we have to go out to bid, I'm just saying that, I guess you could sign it, the legality of just signing it, they came in just at the last minute and wanted it, especially when you got Waste Pro. Have we asked the people that we're already in contract with?
The waste pro don't clear streets.
They don't have this equipment.
They just pick up debris.
Let's see what happens, see what kind of storm we get, then we can,
That's why they want to do
worry
it
about
now,
this.
so we don't have to worry about it afterwards. If it's in place, then all Alan has to do is make a call and it's in works. So, I made the motion, we sign the contract, we move forward.
All right, motion, Mr. Cox.
I'll second that.
Second, Mr. Papano.
Is that with my addition?
Yes.
Okay.
I read that.
It's worth just having them in the dugout.
All right, any further discussion? All right, hold on.
I hate to vote for this.
You wanna pass it there, that's with, Nicole's addition.
All right,
It just says.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Kim? Or Bobby, you good?
That's it.
Okay.
Nothing.
Good.
Rob? All right.
I just want to give kudos to the new code enforcement person. That new code enforcement report was very comprehensive and looked like they hit the ground running. But just that, and I appreciate all the city employees and the efforts they'll put in during this hurricane. I know the citizens will appreciate it too.
Yeah, I did want to say that too. I mean, to the police, fire, public works, the guys that are going to be out in the thick of this. Thanks for what y'all do, and we'll get through it good.
And Patty, keep them all straight.
Oh, don't worry, Mike. I want to say that new code enforcement
Y'all
girls
done a
is a
good job
girl.
with the citizens.
Good job.
We'll do our best.
Looks good, y'all got the trash up, you got the drains clean.
All right, well, we have an executive session item, so do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
All right, motion to go into closed session on Mr. Entry.
Second.
Second on Mr. Cox, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
I give Steve these stamps on it.
Right now, it's just tomorrow, I have a feeling I'm gonna probably try my staff to let them know.
Yeah, I am.
If they come in late, I would think that if it's flooding and stuff like that, then we'd like to just delay it. But
Hey, man, I have this also.
they'll make their decision tomorrow.
They live in the yard.
Yep.
I mean, there again, my department was a little different, we could all work from home.
Somebody gonna be so they can say.
I just thought PD, I should straighten out. Let me call the county and tell them to bring me another 2,500, that makes 7,500 sandbags.
That's what we do.
Oh, hey, Vic.
30 calls.
It's
No, she has to wait, it has to wait until Patty comes back and says why they're in there.
Right there where the dog spot is, up the dog spot.
Let me catch you right.
Plants and stuff like that, that's the dog spot.
It looks really bad when you automatically get a contract with somebody in 12 minutes.
I don't know.
It's higher than it should be.
That's what they say, they say, hey, listen, if you didn't need them.
All y'all, everybody, y'all can go back.
We good?
I didn't want to say that across the camera, but.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Kevin, don't have no bags in the hurricane building?
How did you call
Yeah,
it?
Y'all do it.
Jennifer, how you call, let me know.
But what I'm doing, or?
On one phone call away, Jennifer's few blocks down, we're a few blocks down.
Let me know, I got a guy that we use in the county, chief,
Keep up with y'all.
All right, I'm
let
with
him look at it.
you. Yeah, how many you got it on the floor?
Standing, but try to get everybody.
You still in the shop?
Try not to. Even
Oh, it's
the
probably
guys
still
that
Cut
on.
some out.
The other guys that town that we really hurt
Did, Kevin stay with the gas man?
We find it hard to believe he can't rest any while he's
He's
there.
okay, he's on duty. All right, I'll be there in a few minutes. Me and you'll run some bags
Well, I
around.
know, I'm just telling you,
Oh, yeah.
when they go
All right.
over there.
Yeah, go ahead and get another one, pull another one over there.
What happens when they go to county? They come back
All right.
and they say, well, I couldn't never sleep for a
Well, I'm
rest.
gonna
and I
follow
was
Hey, did we check to see if it?
They put a bundle in there, Kevin got the key, so we'll figure out something. I'll be there in a few minutes.
Let me go back here and see if I can get in trouble for a minute.
So the sandbags, you want to buy some?
I don't know if Fonzie can take it.
Hey, Alan, there's a, I want to talk to you before you go.
All right, I'll wait on you right here.
Oh, that, I don't think that's gonna pause recording.
Okay.
This thing's still recording.
Possible location of Mary C. It was on the agenda.
Huh? They gonna turn me off, I'll tell you his number here anyway, so I don't care what shit.
Still recording.
But, I'll have simple instructions. When I left the shop, I said, look, I'm bringing 12 people in, I will contact that 12 people. Everybody else, y'all come in tomorrow morning at 6:30, we're gonna work through lunch, you go home at 2:30 before the storm gets there.
Did
Lloyd
you,
went straight over there and told everybody, y'all come
did you
back
press
to work till
pause?
Wednesday.
I pressed pause and I pressed play.
And it didn't say anything else? Okay. I'll have to look at it.
Motion by John Gill, seconded by Kim Papania, to stay in executive session to discuss potential litigation regarding the Friends of the Mary C. and to discuss potential litigation regarding 1102 Iberville.
So now I can end it?
If they come back out and make motions, we should probably put them on